those happy hours.
What's up, guys? Welcome to this video on Elvis is the Man. So on January 11th, I was in Las Vegas and I met David Stanley, Elvis's stepbrother, and I got a personal tour of the showroom floor, the stage that Elvis actually played on. I got to go to the upper deck, lower deck, sit in the seats, take pictures of it. I got to see how you go up to the upper deck. I touched the floor, everything. It was awesome. David, he was cool, and it was a totally unplanned, unexpected meeting, and I was really excited about this, but we all know what happened on the 12th, so obviously that took precedent. Another thing, I have another channel, a sister channel to Elvis is the Man. It's called Elvis is the Man Shorts. Say, for example, this video would be 12 minutes long. I'll condense it, cut it down into maybe a bite-sized 3-minute video that just maybe hit the high points. This would be the long form video, or if I make a long video that has a bunch of different subjects, sometimes I can break them up into different topics that might be easier and more palatable, so to speak. But nothing is changing with this channel, but if you are interested in checking out the new channel that goes along with this channel, it's right in the link, Elvis is the Man Shorts.
Alright guys, so I want to take you with me on this tour of the Westgate Hotel, where, as you can see from the thumbnail, I met David Stanley, Elvis's stepbrother, and I also, at the end of this video, will show you how a security guard let me in to the showroom. I got to go all over the stage, the upper deck. I got to see everything as is. So I was in Las Vegas the week that Lisa Marie passed away. The same week, Austin Butler won the Golden Globe. This was the calm before the storm. So I was in Vegas, I had a day to myself, and I decided to check out some Elvis sites. So I went over to the Westgate, which was originally the International Hotel that opened July 2nd, 1969. Elvis played over 1,100 shows at this very place. So right now I'm like looking at what Elvis would have looked at. It was changed to the Hilton in 1971, and then later, more recently, changed to the Westgate. So I'm just soaking it up here, loving this. And I'm curious of what I can see on the inside, because I had no idea what I'd be able to see. I'm just exploring right now. So I finally made it up to the Westgate. So Barry Manilow is the man in town now. He's like the new king of Vegas, if you want to call it that. All right, guys, so I'm going to give you a play-by-play of how this went down. As of right now, I have no idea. I'm going to meet Elvis' stepbrother. No idea even if I can even see the stage. I just wanted to go in here and see what I could see. So first of all, I'll walk up and see this statue, this memorial to Elvis here. So it was pretty surreal to realize that I was actually in the same hotel that Elvis made famous. This was the city he made famous. People came from all over the world to see Elvis. So this is also a casino, obviously. Don't forget about that. There's Liberace there. That was actually a pretty good little picture. They wanted Elvis back in the day to keep his shows short so they could gamble. And we see some of the people who have actually been at this hotel as well. That area right there was where I met David Stanley. I had no idea this was going to happen. They did show me that that was Elvis's dressing room. This was Elvis's actual dressing room. They have a plaque there letting everybody know. At this point, I talked to some people at the desk, some workers there, and I said, hey, I'm a big Elvis fan. I just come here to see what I can see. Is there anything? They told me that a while ago, they said Priscilla had a beef with somebody here at the management supposedly, and she moved out all of Elvis's stuff. They said there's really nothing to see except for maybe the showroom. So this is where the adventure really begins. They told me I can check up at the desk and see what somebody can do for me. I walk up to the desk and start talking to this lady, tell her I'm an Elvis fan and want to be able to see the showroom. She says, let me make a call. She tells me that the one manager that's there right now says they're too busy and they might be able to let me see it in about 4 hours at 2 p.m. And I'm thinking, I don't want to wait around here for 4 hours. So just then, one of the guys that I was talking to maybe 10 minutes earlier, he says, you know what? I think Elvis' stepbrother's here. Do you want to meet him? And I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, all right, come with me. So he takes me back to the place I was at originally, down the hallway with the Muhammad Ali picture. He goes up and says, I'm taking this guy through to David Stanley. Now, originally, this is only for people who own a timeshare there. So you only can get through there if it's paid. So they tell me to wait by that sign, and they go up to David, which I can't see. I don't know which brother it is, really. And they ask him, can this guy come see you? Then they motion me that I can come ahead. So I go over, turn the corner, and see David. Now, some of you guys have asked me, did you tell them that, you got that Elvis channel? And no, I didn't, for a few reasons. One, it kind of sounds like you're bragging, and why would he really care anyway? Two, it's not like I'm going to ask him for an interview right on the spot. So, but it's funny, like when he first looked at me, I'm like, oh, this guy recognizes me. But I just asked him regular questions, and he started telling me about Elvis. So I'm like, let me just experience this. So right when I got done with this whole experience, I automatically just went to my notes and just audio recorded everything that happened. So I'm going to read it off to you as I wrote it. So I just kind of started with, I didn't really know what to say at first. This happened within 3 minutes. So I was just like, So I told him there's probably a bunch of things that I could think of to ask him once I leave. But, I appreciate him answering my questions. And he gave me a few signed pictures, told me one was from 1976 and one was from 1972. I told him that I saw that picture that he has as a cover as his book. And I almost bought it, but now I will. And he said, oh, thank you. And he's a lot bigger than what I remember or what I imagined, bigger in size, bigger framed. He said, I asked, was Elvis as handsome in person as he was in pictures? And he said that he was more handsome. And I'm just thinking of random stuff to ask him. He said that Elvis was just a regular guy. And I asked him what he missed the most about Elvis. And he said everything. He says that he misses Elvis, and he would just be sitting down watching sports, having a pizza or something. But he said he misses everything. He said Elvis was very charismatic. If he came into a room, you knew it. To him as a kid, Elvis was just Elvis, he was telling me. And I'm sitting here right across from that little table just talking to him. He said the Beatles came over and everything was normal. He was just a fan of that music in the 60s, the Beatles music, not really Elvis music. He said Elvis was just a regular guy to him. He didn't really realize how big he was until opening night in Las Vegas, 1969. And I was like, you were there? He said Elvis walked out on stage and people went crazy. He said Elvis's magnetism was insane. His first tour with Elvis was in June 1972 at Madison Square Garden, and there's some footage of that. He said that his charisma was crazy. He couldn't relate him to anybody, so it's hard for him to compare. He said Elvis also sang at home a lot. He said he would hear music playing from the music room, and he would go out there, and Elvis would just be playing piano, singing gospel songs by himself in the music room. He said that he first heard Elvis start to work Unchained Melody out on the piano in the mid-70s, so I'm guessing 75. I didn't really ask the year. He said he never heard him sing it. He never heard Elvis sing it before, but after about 20 minutes of Elvis working it out on the piano, he was just blown away. He finally got it down. So then, I'm thinking, I asked him, I'm like, does it feel at home here in Vegas and at the Westgate International? because, you know, you were here with Elvis so much in the 70s. And he said, yeah. He said he'll look at a billboard and remember Elvis's name being there. He says he stays right now on, I think he said, the 29th floor. The Westgate offered him a job. He says he lives in the suite the last couple of years. So I'm just listening, enjoying this. But, you know, like I said earlier, if I knew I was going to be meeting him, I'd probably think of some really interesting stuff to say. But I was sort of like put on the spot. He was just like right there. It was so unplanned. So when I kind of could tell the conversation was wrapping up, I asked him if I could get a picture. He said, yeah. He looked around like he was going to see if he could get somebody, but I just went to the nearest person, and they were happy to do it. So David was a very nice guy. I just got a good vibe off him. I pulled out some money I had in my pocket, and I wanted to give him a $100 bill just like to say thank you and just, you know, be nice to him. But he was like, no, I can't take it. Like almost like he wasn't allowed to, I was thinking. So I said, oh, you're not allowed? Like thinking, you know, by contract he's not allowed or something. And he said, no, it's just that Elvis had done so much for me and that he couldn't take it. So I said, okay, sorry, you know, no disrespect. Just wanted to give you something. And we shook hands one more time. And he told me not to forget the little signed pictures he gave me. And I, you know, of course I wouldn't. I grabbed them. And then we just, you know, smiled and started to walk away. Oh, also, one more thing. He did say that Austin did a great job in the movie, but there's only one Elvis, and it's too hard to be an Elvis impersonator. You can't imitate Elvis or pull it off at all. And I said, yeah, I know. Austin did a great job. He didn't come off as an impersonator. He just was a tribute. So at this point, I'm feeling lucky. I just walk up to where I know the stage would be. It says International Showroom, and they're doing some construction there to make it the way Barry Manilow wants. So they're starting to change it. I go up to the head foreman. I'm like, hey, I'm a big Elvis fan. You think you'd let me see the stage? And the rest is history. He just looked down, went for his keys, and let me in. So this is actual footage. He let me it was like a break for him. So I went up there and just started recording. I wasn't like, hey, I'm a YouTuber, blah, blah, blah. I just went in there, started taking pictures. He was real cool. And so this is the actual showroom. If you were there watching the Elvis show, this is what you would see. There's a few updates in the technology, but same stage. Seats are the same. You know, some of them have been replaced, obviously. But this is what it would be like if you were actually there. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, he let me in. So I'm walking up. That is the stage. Come right up to the stage. I'm thinking like, wow, this is actually what it was like. So then he's like, do you want to see the balcony? And I'm like, yeah. So I go up there, and he leads me up there, and I'm thinking, man, this guy is like so nice. I'm also thinking, I got to get some good footage for you guys. So I come up there, I look at the chandelier, I'm like, oh, that's pretty nice. The only thing different is they're starting to redo it up to Barry Manilow's standards and his tastes. And I guess that guy there told me that that's the head foreman. Barry likes blue. So they're starting to make everything blue. So I'm getting the last glimpse of it before everything changes. But this is what it's like from the upper deck. You remember Elvis would be like, hey, I'll be up in the balcony in a minute. So this is what people would see. This is their view. Same seats, same everything.